Chang, Delgado, Gilliam, Kurtz, Marsh, Randall, Shabazz, Tibbet, Council President. We have a quorum. Let us stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll now have invocation by the Honorable Councilman Jesse O. Kurtz.
Let us pray in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Ghost. In the words of the psalmist, the law of the Lord is perfect, reviving the soul. The decrees of the Lord are trustworthy, making wise the simple. Lord, help us as legislators, as people assisting the legislative process, to have our laws, whether we're making new ones, changing the ones that we have, or repealing them, become more perfect like your law, and be more trustworthy like your law. And please bless our city. This we ask through your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required by law by the city clerk, sending to the press and the Philadelphia Inquirer on January 6, 2017, and published on January 9, 2017, and to the Star Ledger on January 19, 2017, and published on January 21, 2017. A list of the meetings for the Council of the City of Atlantic City, including notice of the meeting scheduled for May 17, 2017 at 5 p.m. in the Hank Tyner Council Chambers, room 206, City Hall, 1301 Back Road 41. And also a copy of said notice was posted by the city clerk on the bulletin board, main lobby, first floor, on same date. All of the aforesaid complies with NJSA 10:4-6 et sec, known as the Senator Byron M. Baer Open Public Meetings Law, and NJSA 40:69A-179. This is a regular council meeting of the City Council of Atlantic City. Before we begin, please be aware of our rules in this chamber. All persons are to be seated unless all seats are filled, in which case you may stand against the wall in orderly fashion. We are asking that all gentlemen remove their hats. All persons are to remain quiet during these proceedings. This is so that everyone is able to hear what is going on. Please turn off all cell phones or set them to silent. No one shall speak unless they are invited to do so by the council president. Shouting, interrupting, speaking out of turn, or acting disorderly in any fashion will not be tolerated, and anyone so doing will be removed from the meeting. When and if you are invited to the microphone to speak, state your name and address. You will be allotted 3 minutes for comment. Please respect the time for other persons and end your speech within the 3 minutes allowed. If it is your intention to ask a question of council, you will be permitted to ask a maximum of 2 questions. Your questions are to be clearly stated, and after the questions are asked, you are to take your seat. The council president will determine if the question can be answered and by whom. Finally, please understand that there will be no personal attacks or name calling. If you do so, your time will immediately be cut short and you may be asked to leave. Reports and recommendations from the mayor. Ordinance 9 of 2017 was signed by the mayor on April 28, 2017. Council President, have we committee reports?
Before they direct there's some feedback too on the microphone. And somebody needs to turn it down. Hey, Director, can you have someone put the air on?
I've already done that.
Okay.
And I don't know if I can fix this, but I'll give it a shot.
I think it's feedback. It's valuable. Kurtz.
Health and Human Services, Licensing, Inspections, and Technology Committee. First off, the 2 ordinances that are listed on the agenda on second reading, pulling those for tonight for further discussion in committee, in particular with the rolling chair owners, to give them an opportunity for formal input into the ordinance, pulling that to our June meeting. On the agenda tonight are a number of items, including an amendment to the shared services agreement to offer elevator inspections. We're expanding that program to add revenue. There's some amusement games license items and reimbursement for demolition that has occurred in town. One other item with regard to the agenda is that I think on the public agenda it says $40,000 for the change order for Ozitis, our IT services. That number, as reflected on the resolution that's in our packets, is $15,000. That's what we're voting on tonight, is the $15,000 change order. And that's all I have.
Yes, Human Resources did not meet, but we have three items on the agenda that I want to make sure that they are supported by my colleagues. That's the Benacar prescription plan 289. That's a $1 million savings that the city will receive. And then the other two are 298, the agreement with Delta Dental for employee dental coverage, and 299 with vision service plan for the vision insurance coverage. And I'm asking that the colleagues support these. We did receive substantial savings from all three of these. And if you compare it to 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, it's unbelievable how much money we've saved when we had a broker, and the broker was able to negotiate these agreements with these companies. When in essence, 2 years ago, we were paying month to month. So we see substantial savings on both ends for these insurance plans for our employees and for our city.
Good job.
And,
Yep, public safety and public works. We met May the 10th. From the fire department tonight, we have a resolution requesting the fire department to take possession of 2 John Deere ATVs. They'll be awarded to the city, and one of them will be fitted with a pump for small fires when we have concerts on the beach or some kind of special event. A resolution from the for Atlantic Care for their ambulance dispatch services is on the agenda tonight. And from the fire department, we have an intergovernmental agreement with CRETA to fund the Class 2 officers for the department, from the police department. And Chief White also advised us May the 24th that they will be having the grand opening of the surveillance center. And the public works, one resolution I would like for everyone on this dais to make sure they pay great attention to it. Our salt dome, the facility out at Public Works has collapsed, and we have to build a new one. So that's on tonight for $249,000. So we definitely need that salt dome, and that's my report. Thank you.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Planning and Development met. Let me say firstly that we want to pull 322, that's a license agreement with Celebrity Corners, so that the council in that district, Councilman Chang, the residents and the owners will meet, and hopefully we'll be able to bring it back on May 31st. Additionally, 321 is Hard Cheese AC LLC. That came before our committee. That's a local businessman who wants to build a car wash, and he's going to employ 10 people, and he says his commitment is to employ Atlantic City people with that. That's under revenue, no, it's under public safety. It should be under planning and development. I would,
Should have been
I encourage my colleagues to support that. There's a pyrotechnics, which is a normal thing that we do when we have fireworks in Atlantic City, and everybody's familiar with that. I ask everyone to support that. A couple things from Live Nation and Beach Boys, which are concerts that we hope to have on the beach. A signage for the Econo Lodge, which is just a overhanging sign that we would ask people to support as a identification sign for that particular building. Also, there's on first reading from our committee, there's an ordinance to transfer 101 Houston Avenue to Ocean Inc. It's a single-family, low-income house that has been built, it's 85% complete. problem, Mr. President, is that there was not an ordinance done in 2015 to transfer. We're asking our colleagues to support this on first reading so we can get a family into affordable housing. That's my report.
All right, Revenue and Finance, B&B Evaluation Consulting Services, amount not to exceed 150. As Councilman Randolph mentioned, there's an authorization of the Class 2 officers via intergovernmental agreement with the CRDA. And the other item, dependent card prescription plan of $5,241,160.90. And tonight we will have the public hearing on the budget as well. So that's my report. Move.
Communications and petitions are listed on the agenda. They will not be read into the record, which brings us to the public hearing on the 2017 municipal budget.
Before we do the public hearing on the budget, if we can suspend that section and we can get the resolution of recognitions. I believe 288 is here, 290 as well.
Right.
Yep, 90.
So just 288.
8 and 290.
All right, so I'm going to make a motion to group the rest of the resolutions.
Second.
Move. Moved by Randolph, second by Shabazz. Resolution recognition.
The ones
Going on is not here.
Thank you. 6 of them. One.
Okay, so we're grouping the resolutions on recognition. 291 is a resolution of the Muslim community in observance of Ramadan. 292, resolution to commend Stockton University. 293 is a recognition of the Gateway Community Head Start Center. 328 is a recognition of 101 Women Plus Inc. 329, recognition of Charmaine Gunter Gary. Chang?
Yes.
Delgado?
Yes.
Gilliam?
Yes.
Kurtz?
Yes.
Marsh?
Yes.
Randolph?
Yes.
Shabazz?
Yes.
Tibbet?
Yes.
And Small.
Yes.
That's
And
not,
just for the future, to the colleagues, please limit these to 3 meeting. Thank you.
Real quick on 293, Gateway, I guess grand opening, ribbon cutting will be the 23rd at, I think it's 12 o'clock over here on New York and Arctic Avenue. For anyone who wants to go over and see that fantastic building that has been put up for Head Start. So that's the date for it. I hope you all can make it. And it's a tremendous addition to the city of Atlantic City and to our students' education.
okay. Now, you have resolution 288, and this is a resolution posthumously recognizing William V. Campbell Sr.
Move
Mr.
it.
President, could I say just for the record that?
Can we have a motion and
Move
second,
it.
please?
Move it.
Move it.
Second.
Whereas William V. Campbell Sr. was born January 1st, 1900, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and departed this life February 20th, 1989 in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And whereas Mr. Campbell proudly served his country as a World War I Army veteran with the 24th Infantry and was a maintenance supervisor for the Sun Shipyard of Chester, Pennsylvania from 1928 to 1948. He was also the owner-manager of Bill's Restaurant at North Carolina and Baltic Avenues in Atlantic City from 1948 until 1955, and later worked for the Traymore Hotel as housekeeping supervisor until 1958. And whereas Mr. Campbell was employed by the City of Atlantic City as the head custodian of the All Wars Memorial Building, Soldiers Home, from 1958 to 1974. And whereas William V. Campbell Sr. was past commander of the American Legion Post 61 in Atlantic City, where he served as past chaplain, past sergeant of arms, and former president of the Allied Council for 21 years, he was responsible for distributing flags on the graves of veterans. And whereas Mr. Campbell was a foster grandparent at New Jersey Avenue School, a dedicated and devoted member of Second Baptist Church, where he served on the scholarship committee and was vice president of the trustee board, vice president of the Men's Fellowship, past president of the senior choir, and a member of the transportation committee. He was also a member of the Light of Elmwood Masonic Lodge, number 45 of Philadelphia, and served as a master of the lodge for 2 years. He was also founder of the Square Club of the lodge. And whereas the City Council of the City of Atlantic City desires to recognize the life and legacy of William V. Campbell Sr., and now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Atlantic City hereby commends the late William V. Campbell Sr. for his outstanding accomplishments and significant contributions throughout Atlantic City community. Chang,
Yes.
Delgado,
Yes.
Gilliam,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Marsh,
Yes.
Randolph,
Yes.
Shabazz,
Yes.
Tibbet,
Yes.
and Small.
Yes.
That's 9 in the affirmative, and we do have a presentation. Family? Those resolutions. Isn't it beautiful?
We just want to take this time to thank the city of Atlantic City, thank the council members.
Thank you all
the
very much.
mayor for this honor and this recognition. He worked hard. Any of the kids from Atlantic City, including Khalid, know about Mr. Campbell at the Soldiers Home and all of his dedication. We just want to thank you.
I just want to thank everybody. I'm the oldest son named after him, so thank you, everybody.
We have resolution 290. This is a resolution of condolence to the family of Providencia Ortiz Colon.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Shabazz, second by Randolph.
Whereas Providencia Ortiz Colon, age 48, of Pleasantville, New Jersey, departed this life on April 28, 2017. Whereas Provi, as she was affectionately known by family and friends, was born in Ponce, Puerto Rico. She was a faithful member of Rosa de Sharon Church in Atlantic City, whereas Providencia was employed at the Atlantic City Free Public Library for nearly 31 years and served as a senior library assistant. She was dedicated and devoted. She loved working at the library and earned the respect and admiration of her coworkers and all those who had the pleasure to know her. Provi will truly be missed by those whose lives she so lovingly touched. Whereas Providencia received several promotions during her career and was recognized on numerous occasions for providing excellent public service. She leaves behind her beloved husband of 30 years, Pastor Fernando Colon, 3 adoring children, Rosalind, Fernando Jr., and Eunice Colon, and a host of other loving family members and dear friends. Whereas the Council of the City of Atlantic City desires to pay tribute to the life and legacy of Providencia Ortiz Colon and recognizes her outstanding efforts on behalf of the Atlantic City Free Public Library. And now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Atlantic City hereby joins in the mourning of the passing of Providencia Ortiz Colon and expresses heartfelt condolences to her family and friends. Chang,
Yes.
Delgado,
Yes.
Gilliam,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Marsh,
Yes.
Randolph,
Yes.
Shabazz,
Yes.
Tibbet,
Yes.
and Small.
Yes.
That's 9 in the affirmative, and we do have a presentation. We're very sorry for your loss. Like to say a few words?
Yes, my name is Fernando Colon, and my family and I just want to say thank you to each and every one of people on here and co-workers for this and for all these years being there for my wife and being great, and it's just a blessing. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, everybody.
Council President, we're at the portion of public hearing on the 2017 municipal budget.
All right, for the public who want to comment on the budget, there will be 2 questions or a comment, and it will be strictly enforced due to the anticipated number of people from the public that would like to offer any comment on the budget.
Let them know that they don't have to sign in.
Anyone who specifically, this is not for the public who signed in for the good and welfare, or the general comments. This is for people who specifically would like to speak about the 2017 budget. Please come forward.
Council, good. Hello?
Talk loud, Tom.
Steve took the batteries to speak loud, that's what he said.
No, I can do that.
Somebody wanted the electrical box.
All right, I'm sure being a coach, being a teacher, and being an advocate for this community, I'm sure that you have no problem reaching the back windows and speaking.
Thanks, Council President. I guess my question is, and I was going to ask that in general. A little louder, okay. And I asked for these numbers before in the luxury room and parking tax. I know that council last year entertained asking the state for that money back. It still hasn't been accounted for by the state. You know, my estimate has it around $90 million in luxury room and parking tax. Why cannot that money be shifted from the state? We don't even know where the money goes. $90 million for the mayor and council president for you guys to balance our budget. Not to lay any police off, not to lay any firemen off. Where does that money go? Why can't we have half that money back to balance our budget? Atlantic City's not broke. We shouldn't have to have layoffs, you know, and I think that the public outrage should be there. I mean, that's $90 million pre-existing in that our town generates. Now, the state monitor, before the state takeover nonsense, which I still think is unconstitutional, the state monitor said money that's made here should be kept here. It's not kept here. The state sucks that money out of town. God knows where it goes. They haven't accounted for it. There's no public outrage. It's not been an issue. It needs to be an issue. I sit up here, Councilman, you know. I mean, look, we all know each other. We're all friends. We need to get that money back, whether it's through a federal lawsuit on civil rights and constitutional grounds, whether we file independently or whether we file with the county against the state and add that count for civil rights violations. We have African American and other minority seniors getting taxed out of their homes. You know, it's criminal what's going on. People are getting laid off from their jobs. The state came in and swooped jobs out of our public works department without even consulting council. That's egregious. That usurps the democratic process. And honestly, I mean, we need to sue the state in federal court, make those grounds, and I know what this memorandum of understanding is. You can't waive somebody's civil rights. You can't waive their civil rights. We need that money back for our budget. You guys could balance this budget standing on your head. You wouldn't have to pinch pennies or lay people off or foreclose, whatever with their homes or losing their homes. We already have the highest foreclosure rate in the country. In the country. What do they think is going to happen when all these firemen and policemen who really don't live in Atlantic City, and that's a shame, but they're going to lose their jobs. They're not going to be able to pay their taxes and their mortgage. So the county has an interest in this too. So we got to stand together and we got to get that money back. That's my only question. Why can't we include that 90 million or even half of it in our city budget? Why can't the state give us that money back? That's our money. And that's the only question I have, Marty. I mean, I appreciate the time. Thank you.
To the budget.
It's for the budget next.
Yeah. First of all, good afternoon. And I'm not here to answer you, Mr. Forkin, but we're going over. That's from decisions that were made prior to everybody here. The luxury tax, we gave it to the building of the convention center, and we bonded it, and to pay off the bonds, they used the luxury tax and all. So this is something we owe. We already signed off on that. So it's not for me to argue. I'm just giving you explanation. But let me. Yeah.
It's not a discussion. No, but it hasn't been paid.
Thank you.
It hasn't been paid.
Trust me, I follow. But anyway, excuse me. I'm here in terms of the budget. We're speaking to the budget. The privatization part of the budget, that was privatization is supposed to be a cost savings from privatizing the sanitation department. Those figures have to be challenged. And in privatization, and Mr. Cunningham has a part in this, in privatization, you don't take one side's figures. No offense to Mr. Paul, I like a nice guy, but I don't accept his figures. They have to be challenged, part by part, paragraph by paragraph. He starts out with Department 44 workers. We got 29 now. This will allow them to be absorbed into other departments, other divisions within that department. And then we have the cost of the privatization. When he did the privatization savings, he didn't include those 29 that's going back. That's still going to be in the city budget. So the figures have to be challenged. It's up to the Teamsters to challenge Mr. Cunningham and this privatization. But it's up to us here to be against. How can you be against police, which we need, fire, which we need, and then leave out the sanitation workers? I tell you this, Martin Luther King would be turning over in his grave to know that we took the sanitation workers and threw them to the woods and left everybody else okay. It's not right, and it needs to be handled. Thank you, and please, that has to be addressed.
All right, let me, this is separate. I'll wait till the budget discussion is over, and, we'll address that clearly. Next speaker for the budget.
Good evening, Marcus King from the Teamsters Union, representing the blue-collar workers and the sanitation workers. I'm perplexed in your budget, or at least in your the numbers that Mr. Jerkins has raised in regard to the privatization, because presently we're doing all of this work now with the employees that we have now, with the trucks that we have now. And to put in that you need 7 new trucks and new people, I grant you that. But to sub this work out, it sounds like you're going to increase your budget opposed to decrease your budget. And it doesn't make sense that we're doing this work presently now. And the one thing for sure is if you bought 1 new truck that could handle the apartment complexes and those dumpsters, that would be even a better savings if we were getting all of the recycling from those apartment complexes. The city would actually make money. So I would hope that before you guys pass a budget, and I know that the state has overruled, but I would hope that these numbers would actually go back and look at, because what we're going to do is take family sustaining jobs, away from this city to some private company. And then you're going to try to figure out later on how to balance your budget when those jobs are gone. And I think it's your due diligence, all of you, because some of you came and knocked on my door to get elected. And so now I'm calling you back. Do your due diligence to do the right thing for these people, because these people, jobs that you're privatizing, these jobs are the jobs that you can put these people to work in the future. I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
He said it's dead.
Dead?
I don't think they've ever put batteries in it.
I don't know what they did with this mic. You think they know?
But they know you didn't need one.
The batteries left when the clock left.
That would be your director, the director of public works. Good afternoon, President, Council President, and council members, Mayor. I'm requesting today from each council that you do not approve the budget specifically for that purpose that the Teamsters spoke about. We do not support privatization. We do not support it, and once it's privatized, it does not mean that the people that are there will keep those jobs. I don't care what they're saying. Everybody knows that doesn't work, because you want to get rid of some employees anyway. That's already been known throughout this city. So once it's privatized, we will not be working. And you privatize one aspect of this city, you're gonna privatize another aspect. And at my next statement, you'll see what's coming out about that, and that has to do with civil service. Thank you.
Steve Young. First, where this budget was basically introduced by the state of New Jersey, not the people that we actually vote for. And now it's supposedly be in your hands. This budget is very important how you handle it. And the reason being because, it started off one way. You got together, you gave a proposal, they threw that away. Now they come up with something else. But to start off with the persons at the lowest and less paid and picking up the slack, that is so disrespectful, because the majority of them are black, ex-offenders, and live here. The majority of the people they're not touching don't live here. So they pay the taxes, and they've been dealing with all this just trash all these years, and they start off with privatizing them first. We know that the water is next. This is just a sample of how you test the waters. Let's look at where we're going. You have the opportunity to do something, though, council. You can stand up today. You can put on your agenda the privatization of the trash and vote it down. If you vote it down, what the state gonna do to you? They're saying our vote don't count. Now the action has been done. Now we can do the civil action. Now we can sue. It was the intent with the law at first that was written. Now the action has been done when they talk about our trash. So stand up. It's the litmus test. It's going to find out where all you stand right now today. You put that on your agenda, and you vote it down, you'll be showing that you're with the people that's the lowest paid, and you'll show that you stand with the people today. So let's be an example. Somebody stand up, put that on the agenda, and vote it down. Thank you.
Good evening, President, Council, and residents.
I don't get in business too much because I have too much of my own to take care of. But I do know this much about business. When you privatize something, the first year you make a gain. But the second year, things start going up higher and higher and higher. And land is shifted around here, there, and everywhere. And you have less of the regular city on that, and you'll be amazed at how much you lose. You won't come out a winner. And I think each and all y'all up there have more knowledge about business than I do. But I have enough business to know about myself. You should never privatize anything because you're going to lose.
Anyone else specifically about the 2017 budget?
Frank Turner. Question, I just want to know, all the condos in Atlantic City, do the city pays for the condos that we're not picking up the trash and recycling for? So the city's paying them $800,000 to pick up their own trash and recycling, how come we couldn't do it?
Director?
The reason why we're not able to do it is because we do not have the equipment. The reason why we're not able to do that is because we do not have the equipment.
But if we give them $800,000 to pick up their trash and recycling, the $800,000 could go into the trucks for us to pick it up.
Thank you. Been saying that for 3 years.
That's what I understand.
Absolutely.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Anyone else? The budget? All right, seeing none, public portion is closed. Timmy? The public hearing on the budget is closed. Yes, ma'am? No, this was specifically for the, but we'll get different people who sign things. Let me chime in on this whole situation with sanitation. It was about last May this time at 5 in the morning. I went out and met with the workers of the yard. And I informed them, I said, at our next council meeting, some of the gentlemen had traveled to Trenton for the hearings with us and knew exactly what the takeover was about. I said, I'm not going to give you an opportunity to say that you're not informed. I'm not going to let you say that you were blindsided. I'm coming to you to explain what's going on in the decisions, the tough decisions as a council that we have to make. During that conversation, we discussed privatization, what it means, or where the city is, what we have to do with our numbers, because we were working on our 150-day plan. And I was asked, what's the worst case scenario? I said, the worst case scenario is a company comes in and, blows the city out of the water, with an offer. The next question was, what does that mean? I said, under that scenario, once a contract is executed, if it gets to that point, that the city will work with said company to retain everyone's jobs. That's exactly what I said. They said, well, what's the best case scenario? I said that the city doesn't cheat them and, it's the status quo. I said, but we have to go out there so when we turn in our plan, we can say we went out. And sanitation was not the only department. So we went out for these services in the department. Here's what the city does it for, and here's what, X company does it for. And before I left, I said to one of the workers, I said, now watch, by the time I get to the light at White House, the rumor's going to be out that, quote, Marty Small privatized sanitation. That didn't happen because I, as a councilman, or anyone up here, can't privatize sanitation. If there was a situation when it came to the agenda, you can vote to privatize. Now, I'm saying that to say, when we went through the whole takeover situation, this is what the fight was about. You see what's happening with police and fire. You see what's happening. They wanted to unilaterally come in, interrupt the contracts, take civil service away from everyone. Not public works, everyone. All of these issues were going on during the state takeover. That's why it was important for us as a community
to stand together stronger than which we did. That's why it was important to keep fighting, and maybe, just maybe, if we would have filled those 6 buses up in Trenton, maybe they would have got a bigger picture, because to tell you the truth, they think that we don't care. And that's what happened. Excuse me, I didn't interrupt anyone speaking. I sat there. You have an opinion, I'm going to give you mine. So when you talk about the support and takeover privatization of jobs, listen, and I'm going to say it again, I don't want anyone to lose their job. My job was eliminated, similar cuts from the state at the Board of Education. So I know how it feels personally. And there's no one probably up here that is, more connected with more individuals in the Public Works Department with me. And as I said, I'm going to do my best to protect this city. We have to look out for the taxpayers as well. We have to make tough decisions and $1 million savings. We have to make tough decisions. But as you know, all decisions aren't popular. And I'm not going to play politics and, say, oh, well, I wasn't for this or I wasn't for that because of an election. Because like I said, I'm going to do what's best all the time for the whole of the city and not what's best for my next election. And any time that we have an opportunity, and you have to understand, to save jobs, you're not leaving the city of Atlantic City. You're still going to be employed. I mean, it may not be, with recycling, but as you know, more than anybody, there's other divisions of sanitation. And for us to be able to protect all 29 jobs, and some people, as you know, some of your colleagues left for greener financial pastures with private companies. That'll be a decision that you have to make. But at the end of the day, if we can keep your jobs with the city of Atlantic City and save the taxpayers $1 million at the same time, I think it's a win-win for everybody. And I mean, you can think otherwise, but I want to set the record straight because it's silly season in Atlantic City. And it's all rumors of who was what and who stood. And then, like Mr. Young said, it's a litmus test. Listen, nobody has a problem with being called out. People can play politics and take stands. Listen, where was your stance when it really counted? So, all that challenge about don't vote this or who was for this and, fight to stand up, where were the people when it really counted? And at the end of the day, I know that as council president, and the state will confirm to you, said we need to maintain these jobs, and we maintain the jobs within the city of Atlantic City. And I understand, listen, it's directly affecting you, and people might have questions, but I know that your 29 jobs will be maintained within the city of Atlantic City. Some may have an option to go with the private company, some may not. So that's a decision. We saving the taxpayers and keeping your jobs with the city at the same time. So it's a win-win. So I understand how you feel, but I wanted to set the record straight. Thank you.
Council President, may I speak?
Yes, you may.
I think it was June 8th of 2016 when you and a few other of my colleagues told the public that we were just going out to bid to see what the best offer for the community would be. At that particular point in time, which I still say no to privatization then, I still say no to privatization now because we didn't necessarily have to go out to the market to find out what our savings could have been when you can actually go across the bridge to EHT and other municipalities to look at how their privatization of their trash went. They started off 2 years, and within the third year, they went back to public. And again, it's one of those unfortunate things that people don't realize that sometimes some of us up here are fighting for the purpose of the good and welfare of the people, because at the end of the day, we don't know if those 29 jobs are safe or not, because right now, civil service is in question. And if civil service is in question, that means that those 29 are at jeopardy the most more so than anyone else. The other thing that I find very disingenuous is that we've asked for a report. We get a report from administration, which is always going to give us something that supports their position and not the holistic position of the city. All due respect, I looked at those numbers. They don't make sense. Simply because, number one, municipalities never go out and buy a whole fleet of trucks. Number one. Number two, you have salaries in there that some of those guys, some of these people will never make a day in their lives. Because you have some salaries up at 80, 90,000. The supers don't even make that. Some of them have been on board for 30 years. And lastly, privatization, folks, don't mean that the taxpayers aren't going to be paying that money to someone's service to have that service done. We're going to find that we're going to get more complaints from people because this company may not want to pick up certain elements of what. So whether or not it's silly season or not, facts remain the same because privatization is something that Mayor Don Gardy in 2013, October, and one of his correspondents who told us that he would never privatize anything in the city, and here it is, we're basically opening up the floodgates to privatize things, when in fact, the state of New Jersey has been robbing, casinos have been robbing us, and we have not stood up to take our fight to the right people. Lastly, it is not the state who privatized. It's us who voted yes to move on privatization. So lastly, if it's silly season or not, look at the record. June 8th, 2016, some of us said no. Even colleagues that's been in the fight with me voted yes. But you can guarantee mine is no now, no tomorrow, and no forever. Thank you.
Let me just respond. Let me just respond, and I'm gonna be brief. The next person that speaks out of order will be asked to leave. You have your opinion, I have mine. I mean, it's interesting to say, you know, we shouldn't have went out for certain numbers. That's irresponsible of an elected official. That's a lack of leadership. When you want to talk about making statements, if you knew how dire the city finances were, instead of sitting over there in the corner, voting no on everything and offering no solutions, you would really understand. And then when you speak about your issues and your record, check the votes, we can check the votes on everything. You're the most inconsistent person up here. But once again, it's election season, you want to act like you're for the people. And I'm not going to allow that. Your record is crystal clear in the various positions that you take on certain issues. I'm the one who went out there 5 in the morning and I spoke my piece. And some people may agree with it, some people may not. My record for fighting for people in this community speaks for itself. And I'm gonna just leave that at that. Next. We're gonna move the agenda. Public, real quick, Marty. If you decided to speak to something else.
No, the same thing.
No, you can speak again, just sign the paper, because this was a different thing, we had to close that and down.
Council President, I'd like my opportunity to speak, please. Last year, when you brought it up, you did say it doesn't mean that it's going out to privatization, that you were gathering information on every department in this city. And you needed to see what the actual cost was of the city doing it compared to privatization. And you reassured us up here that the trash men would get a chance to look at those sanitation workers, excuse me for calling you trash men, sanitation workers, whatever you'd like to be called. But back to the point, they were going to get a chance to look at those bids with their union and compete with those bids. Not through the administration, but through their own union, through their own guys to look at that is what the conversation. Okay. So, I mean, that's what took place. And as far as your comments, you continuously say, some of us didn't stand there with you. Absolutely not. I was not going to stand there with you when you're standing with that man. When you're standing with that man that agreed to a state takeover with Steve Sweeney and Chris Christie. That's why I did not stand with you. So that's the reason I did not stand with you. And the reason Steve Sweeney flew down here last year when was because when he agreed to the state takeover, he came here to help the mayor to talk to us. Now, you could check with the Senate President, you could check with the governor, and they'll both tell you that is exactly what happened. So, I mean, just to set the record straight, it's not personal. It's not personal. We go about supporting our people in our own ways. And just because I don't agree with your way, doesn't mean you're wrong, nor does it mean I'm wrong because I didn't stand there and do it the way you chose to do it.
I mean, listen, it's obvious you had your reasons and that part played out. But go ahead, speak.
Just to be clear, I think the privatization was approved by the state. We didn't get the opportunity. We didn't get the 3 weeks that we asked for information to come back. It was done before we came back, so it was approved by the state. But I'm glad I'm not running for anything, so this won't be a political speech. In October of last year, we had a temporary budget that we had to pass. And if we don't pass the temporary budget, the city will close down October 31st. Because you can't have people to work and you can't pay them. 5 voted yes, 4 voted no, and the 5 that voted yes allowed the city to stay open, to have our insurance paid for your families, and everything else. So because I'm not running for anything, that vote last year would have closed the city down. You wouldn't have got a paycheck after November the 1st. The lights would have went out. So the people that really care about you were the people that voted to keep everything going. And I'll end how I started. We didn't privatize you, the state privatized you. We didn't get the opportunity that we asked for 3 weeks in order to wait and see what we would do. It is the state that did it, it's not the city council that did it. Because if we had got the opportunity, we would have been able to express how we felt about it. So just keep that in mind. But also keep in mind, the people voted no on the temporary budget, and you guys wouldn't have had nowhere to work on November 1st.
Well, there was no.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Sport. We want to end this discussion.
Excuse me, sir.
No,
excuse me, sir.
Everybody chimed in on what was said. We want to end the discussion.
You're not the boss.
The agenda.
You just.
Excuse me. We're moving the agenda.
So how do you?
Excuse me. It's not about. Excuse me, Councilman.
Excuse me.
It's not about. Excuse me. It's not about being the boss or being anything. Everyone had a comment. Everybody had a comment, and we're moving forward.
Mr. Solicitor. Yes.
Paul, what do you think?
Mr. Solicitor.
Okay, we are now at public comment on good and welfare.
Wow. Is this a totalitarian or is this a democracy?
Michael Graham.
Good afternoon, Council President, Council. I don't think it's working.
Yeah, it's good.
Does it work? Good afternoon, Council President, Council members, Mayor. My name is Michael Graham. I'm a retired Atlantic City police officer. I'm here with other retirees from the city throughout different departments of the city that retired. Some of us have been retired up to a year or more. I've been retired 7 months. We had a question about our terminal leave, and at the last meeting on April 26th, and I believe Anthony Swan, Michael Stenson, Jason Holt, and Tim Cunningham said they would have an answer. So I'm here to find out the answer that they had.
You're on the agenda.
Council President, want to address it?
Go ahead.
Yes.
Mr. Graham, I did promise you and your other colleagues that I would make it a priority to get an answer. And I did. And as I informed you and your colleague in the hall, for the public, I sent a letter to the city, I believe, yesterday. The letter says that no further terminal leave payments will be made at this time, while certain litigation is still pending. I've been advised by the lawyers handling litigation in both police and fire matters that payment of any terminal leave would run contrary to some of the claims we were making. Therefore, we are not making payments at this time, but that is not a final answer. It is an answer while the matters are still pending. However, I have authorized the city, instructed the city to immediately pay all personal time, comp time, and up to 2 weeks vacation as allowed by statute.
I just wanted to be on the record that Ms. Cunningham saying that it's pending the litigation that's before the court. Myself and others that are here, we left prior to this litigation to go. So, I mean, like I said, some of us left 13 months ago. I believe this started back in March, Mr. Cunningham?
Father, Instagram.
Yes, we left way before that. So, that's where we at. Is anybody else speaking on your behalf, Mr. Cunningham?
I'm sorry, sir?
Is anyone else speaking on your behalf? Hope, Swan, Stinson, this is just your...
I said that.
All right, okay, thank you.
Clarity, is this just police and fire, or is this all criminal?
Oh. Next.
Okay, because we didn't emphasize that.
Chuck LeBar.
Good evening, Charles LeBar, retired town chief, July 31st of 2016. I'm at a loss of words. I've been in contact with Director of Finance, in indirect contact with Solicitor Swan prior to my retirement. I held up my end of the bargain for 28 years and 9 months. If I was told to come to work by 8 o'clock, I followed the contract. It switched to 7:30, I followed the contract. I retired with the contract in place, and that's all that I asked for. I was informed that the contract would be upheld prior to my retirement. Then I get a list through an open request that people were getting paid in January, a firefighter that was terminated January 20th and got paid 7 days later. I mean, who picks and chooses who gets paid and who doesn't? Because I want to know what the qualifications are. If it's shooting foul shots, put me at the line. I don't know. But no one has any answers. Last time it came back, it was like, he went that way. It's insanity. And all it's created now, unfortunately, is going to create more litigation on our behalf. So, the only question I have is, I left July 31st. When did the state take over? July 31st, 2016. When did the state take over? Does anybody have an answer on that one? Or is this a floating date because I hear dates and, oh, this guy, he's grandfathered in. We left at the same time. I mean, do you understand that the litigation that's being created and going to incur, and we're not going away? I proudly served 28 years and 9 months, and I didn't want to leave. I wanted to serve this city, but things happened, and it was, my choice, and I was one of the lucky ones. But I held up my end of the bargain, and that's all I asked. So, my only question before I leave is, when did the state take over and stop the contracts? That's it. Can anybody answer that question?
Bob Burke.
No answer.
November 8th.
November 8th of 2016? November 8th, okay. All right. That's an official date?
Nothing's official around here.
Thank you.
Bob Burke, the RJ, was with the police department for 24 years. Had to retire in April 1st of 2016. Waited patiently because of what our fire department and police department are going through now. Who am I to come here and ask for some sick time today? I was in a contract. And nothing, still nothing. And this was 3 weeks ago. But now, we're going to get 2 weeks vacation, personal days if we have them, and comp time. The only reason you got comp time, Chief, is because you couldn't do overtime and because you couldn't take sick time. Well, we'll get comp time now.
I
And
couldn't take vacation because I had to work because we were short.
because we were short, right. But anyway, so now we're gonna get comp time, which we really didn't get. And we're gonna get 2 weeks vacation and whatever personal day. What in the statute makes those payable and not sick time? When I came aboard, there's a contract about sick time too. What is the difference between the vacation time, which was in a contract, the personal days, which was in a contract, and comp time? Do you have an answer for that? Sure. Okay.
Mr. Berg, the answer to the question is that terminal leave.
Mr. Berg, Roy is, once you ask the question,
I didn't know that, I just have,
yeah. No, I'm saying, that's the procedure.
Oh, take the seat while
Yeah,
you.
that's it.
Mr. Berg, the answer to the question is that terminal leave is specifically challenged component of the police and fire contracts under litigation, which is why it's part of the decision litigation strategy, which I can't comment on, terminal leave payments are being suspended.
Director's 2 years of vacation.
I'm sorry?
You said 2 years of vacation.
What did I say?
2 weeks.
I'm sorry, it's 2 years vacation as permitted by statute, not 2 weeks. I apologize for that, my mistake.
All right, well.
I'm sorry, sir.
I asked the question, I can't talk anymore.
No, it's 2 questions or a comment. So.
Oh, well then I got a comment then.
I've been asked to ask you to take your seat.
Okay, I just want one comment. So now the judge is gonna make his ruling. Is the judge hired by Christie?
That's a question. So, sir, could you please?
Okay, well, we're not gonna get anywhere because the judges are hired by Christie. Everybody's hired by Christie. Nobody ever challenges Christie, and if they do challenge him, he wins. He had pension. He made pension. We're gonna pay so much. And then all of a sudden, he reneges on it, and the judge goes with him. Okay, well, good luck. Good luck, guys.
Mike Gavin.
Hi, Council. My name is Mike Gavin, G-A-V-I-N. I was with the city, employed with the city for over 36 years. I retired recently as a police officer with 25 years. I retired on February 1st, thanks to Captain Cameraman, who had spoken to Mr. Chiesa, that had assured us that if we leave with our time before February 1st, we would get everything that's due to us. Now we leave, and we're not getting it. He's stating that everything's held up, it's going to litigation, but the temporary budget, I think there's $3 million and some for terminal leave payouts. Why is that in there if they don't plan on paying? Is that plan on being moved somewhere else?
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, officer, I didn't get your name. I apologize. The temporary budget does include monies for terminal leave. I'm not removing them from the budget at this time because of the final decision not to pay terminal leave. That decision has not been made. The reason terminal leave is suspended is a matter of the legal process, not of what's in the budget. So I'm leaving the money in the budget for now. Once the judge renders a decision, then we can make a final decision on payment of terminal leave, so the money's staying there for now temporarily.
Council President, I have a question. Mr. Cunningham, I meant to ask this earlier. You mentioned about the terminal leave being in the budget this year. Is the assumption or the money to pay gold medal in the budget as a line item under OE?
Councilman Kurtz, a letter was sent to the administration, and actually was addressed to the council president, authorizing the award of the contracted gold medal. Councilman Marsh spoke to that. Included in that letter, authorizing the award of the contract was authorization to amend the budget to for all necessary actions in order to fund the contract.
Thank you.
Jean Mayer.
Hi. Once again, I retired as a sergeant after 27 years, kind of pushed out the door by our glorious governor and the decisions that are being made by the state. However, part of the question I had is, last council meeting, I brought it up to the finance director as to why the vacation time, personal time, and sick time are all being lumped into terminal leave when vacation, personal, and now I just hear today comp time now. I could be wrong, but for most of the police department, comp time is not in the contract. So I don't know how they can pay us comp time that we weren't allowed to accumulate. However, I contacted payroll this week, and they told me that they have not been advised or ordered to look at the numbers. In short, basically what happened was an Oprah request was done. They said nothing's gone out since March of 2016. However, there's an Oprah request with payouts that went up to March 27th of 2017. Now, like someone else had asked, I just wanted to know, why are certain people getting it, other people aren't? And I mean, if you could answer that as to why it was being done, or, I don't know, I'll sit down before he talks.
You had two questions. One is the question to payroll. The letter was just issued yesterday, so I don't know when you spoke to payroll. They did not even receive the letter until this afternoon. So
Okay,
that's
I'm not
the
blaming
answer
it
to
on
that
payroll, I'm
question.
just saying that's what they advised me.
And then Mr. Cunningham is going to answer the other question.
Mr. Meyer, that is correct. The letter was most recently done, but what I want to be clear about in that letter, first as it relates to comp time, the letter applies unilaterally across all city departments. So some employees may have terminal leave, some may have vacation, some may have personal, whatever the case may be. I'm not saying it applies to everyone, but each of those categories would be paid out as accrued in the system. With specific requests to why payments to some people are being made and not made. My letter is, I think, unambiguous. It's a public record. You can certainly have a copy of it. We're not, from this point, we're not paying any further terminal leave to anyone while things are on hold. So in no way am I picking and choosing, and I just want to be really clear about that. So you'll see, the instructions that no further terminal leave payments will be going out.
That brings back the question. He's not choosing. Who is?
The question I don't think was why the state isn't paying, why the state is picking and choosing. The question is who is picking and choosing.
Exactly.
He just said he don't choose.
I'm saying that there will be no picking and choosing.
No. They're talking prior. They're talking prior to you. They're talking prior state. So they're saying certain people have gotten their payout while others are sitting here without theirs. And I think that that's a question that needs to be asked from the administration since the state wasn't here.
If I can add to your comment, Mr. Gillen, Councilman Gillen, certain people, as far as picking and choosing, retired after these folk.
Yes, exactly.
That's the problem.
It should just be the retirement date is the date you get paid, period.
So how come when people come to ask questions, they leave here just as frazzled as they did when they came in?
More. So I think with all due respect, I think we're in a disposition right now, Council President, that we're in such a volatile state that to be held responsible and accountable whoever it is, whatever groups, needs to come and speak on why, and the system or whatever formula that may have been created, or per se to quote something that's become a little bit more vitriolic than anything, a letter being sent to suggest or direct someone. We need to find out where this formula came about, because as my colleague had mentioned, you had people who had already who retired. Shortly after their retirement, they get a payoff. And you have individuals who've retired long time before who apparently didn't get a payoff. And then there's some chaos in between on who gets paid and who doesn't. So with all due respect, I think if anyone who's put their time in and worked as long as they've had, that was part of the American story. To be able to retire on the will and the backs of your own sweat. So if you worked hard for a long period of time, you are due the money that you are due. And what we seem to be doing is playing with the lives of a lot of individuals. And some people, we'd like to mask this, is to say it's not what it is. It's a little bit too deliberate to suggest that it isn't that. Because the people who are getting hit the most are the people who are getting paid the least. And the people who have hit most as far as this terminal leave are the individuals who apparently can't make an impact on the city now because they're retired. And some of the individuals may have retired and left on, but that's not so, because we're still obligated to taking care of them because they've taken care of us.
And
It's clear to me.
Councilman, I agree with you 100%. And if you can remember 3 meetings ago when certain individuals, similar with the terminal leave payments, they came up and they said that they called the Revenue and Finance office and they said you have to go to council. And I explained to them the process that it's not city council. And I told them it's not, as the chairman of Revenue and Finance, there's not an agenda item that came on there dealing with the payouts that we didn't approve. So it's a lot of blame game going around, but as I talked to you, Officer Byrd, the buck doesn't stop here. And as you've seen, Mr. Cunningham said that the direction came from the state, saying that no further payments. So just to clear that record again, is no one up here is denying payments or anything. So, next.
Doug Brown.
I'm kind of inclined, they're hoping that this goes into the legal process because that makes sure lawyers get paid, judges get paid, clerks get paid. They get paid by the hour, by the moment, by just even waiving. Someone gets paid. That was probably part of this whole paid cycle. Pardon me?
Doug Brown?
No? Oh, I'm sorry, forgive me.
Stephen Tebek?
Thank you. Good evening, Councilman. My name is Stephen Tavik. I'm here on behalf of Celebrity Corner Bar and Grill. Unfortunately, it was removed from the agenda. I'm really disappointed. We're hoping to sit down with Councilman Chang and work through whatever we need to. It's a city piece of property that we had on an agenda which has already been done on California Avenue, and it's right now it's not, generating any revenue for the city, and obviously it would be. So it's not. We have no intention of it being a nightclub or creating any loud music or anything of the sort. So just want to put that on the record. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dominic Gaggiano? No comment. No comment. Tom Forkin?
Thank you. Tom Forkin, 419 Carson Avenue. I actually live in town. And, I have an interest in the town. Everybody up here loves our city. And I think everybody in this room loves our city. And a lot of people here, have invested their life savings. Some people go, Forkin, you sound like it's a little personal. Well, my taxes, I bought my dream home back on Massachusetts Avenue. I saved my entire life for my house. The taxes were raised 133% under the state supervision. My taxes were $18,000 a year. After the state took over the schools, I lost my job. I was subject to the RIF, the reduction in force. So they laid 200 teachers off, overcrowding our classroom for our children throughout the city. They cut Marty's position as well. They eliminated all the middle school sports, which Marty, kids need stuff to do and stay busy. That's structural. That gives them discipline, and structure, and focus, and goal setting, and so forth. And that's eliminated. So the state has been a disaster for the city of Atlantic City, for the county, and I feel like I have the cure for cancer. The cancer here is the state of New Jersey. They come in and they cut jobs with the people that have worked the hardest, that live in town, and they can't pay. I had to sell my house. I had to sell my dream house. I lost everything. Okay? And I'm pissed. I'll be honest with you. I'm not happy. It's not fair for all concerned. It's not fair to the residents. The only way this thing gets resolved is in federal court. And I'm going to pound this into the ground. And I don't care what I got to do to get it done. It's going to happen. The state of New Jersey, these judges are appointed by the Senate Judiciary Committee, by Sweeney and his boys, and until this matter becomes scrutiny in a federal court setting and have the federal court look at it, these guys, this law firm, they're going to continue to run the city into the ground. And let me tell you something, guys, okay? They pulled this stunt with the waste management. What are they going to do with city council if they don't like the results of some elections? Okay? They can go back to the commission form of government. Okay, they can eliminate positions. If the people are running scared, I know everybody up there is concerned about their jobs. People in the city are concerned about their jobs. You can be dictated to. I'm a combat veteran. I find it offensive that this law firm, that the state of New Jersey usurps the democratic process. That's a civil rights issue. It's unconstitutional to interfere with contracts. It's wrong. And, Martin Luther King said it best. He said, the problem with our great nation is not the vitriolic words and the evil deeds of the bad people, but it's the appalling silence and the great indifference of good people. And what is going on is because people have been silent. The good people, I see a lot of good people here, my friends and neighbors. And I don't think we're going to be silent, especially in the next election cycle. We're going to show the city what's going on. Thank you.
Marcus King.
Thank you again, Marcus King, Teamster President of Teamsters Local 331. Half of my local, close to 2,000 members, are public employees. And I deal with a lot of municipalities. But I have to tell you, I have never dealt with anything that I see here in Atlantic City. And I say that to say this, that there is decency in regards to communication. Now, President Smalls, I grant you that you were nice enough to go out to the Public Works Department and talk to employees. However, let me share with you that in our collective bargaining agreement, there are to be no side agreements with the employees. You did not notify the local union and say, hey, I'm going to go out and talk to these employees.
You want the president.
Decisions are being made. I have the floor, Mr. President. Decisions are being made, and I have not once. The only person that I've received a call from, very nice lady, Ms. Doreen Tucker, the only person that I got a call from to talk about. It's my understanding, and I don't know all the facts, and so I'm asking that the city is no longer under the auspices of civil service. And if that's the case, we have not been notified, and there's a collective bargaining agreement. And I think that's problematic, right? Number two, the mayor who was nice enough, he says, hey, my door is always open. Well, Mr. Mayor, my door is open as well. And it's a give and take. That's how business is done. And I'm losing hope that we can do business. These people, a lot of them are second generation employees. In fact, you have an employee that the mother works there and her son works there. And I think they deserve the due diligence of somebody to tell them what's going to happen to them. And that's only fair. And if you don't know, that's fair too. But some kind of way, we ought to better communicate so that we're on the same page. Now, the mayor and president and council, you made a statement in the newspaper and publicly, and you know layoffs. I'm asking you nicely, Can we get that in writing? Because under civil service, you would have to write an action plan and send it to civil service. They would have to approve it. Then we would get to review it to be able to make the argument. Without civil service, or to what degree you don't have civil service, nothing stops you from laying off. So if you privatize this workout and those numbers increase in 2-3 years and they come back, you're going to be looking to make up that money from somewhere. And unfortunately, in our business, we make up that difference from the lowest paid employees. Now, mind you, these employees haven't had a raise since 2010. They are making $10 an hour. So if this is privatized, as some people have said, oh, they'll get a raise. Yeah, they might get a raise in their pay, but they'll lose benefits. Thank you. They'll lose benefits. And I don't think that that's what this council wants. And so what I'm appealing to you all, please give me in writing, and then let me know how do we save jobs so that when you all take back over and run the city again, that you have taxpayers in the city like this gentleman who has lost his house. Thank you, Mr. President.
No problem. And, I just want to make a brief comment, and Mr. King, as you know, as a council person or anyone, there can't be no quote side deals. I went out there because of my respect for the hard work that the blue collar workers do. I went out there and I told them the truth. Listen, I mean, I think we all agree that we want to preserve the jobs. And you may not agree how you get there, but that was my whole intention, to make sure that all the jobs were saved. And as far as communication, and Mr. King, if you remember, I did reach out to you recently when I asked to attend a meeting to speak about this matter that we're talking about tonight. So I've always been in touch. This is just a situation where I feel on the fiduciary side, to save the taxpayers, that it was important that we do that. But in no uncertain terms would I ever turn my back on the hardworking men and women of the Public Works Department. And I've been consistent with that.
Councilman,
Next speaker.
I have a question before we go on. And this is another question for Mr. Cunningham. Referring to your letter, and I hope I'm quoting you accurately, but it was something to the effect of the magnitude of the savings and the urgency of the situation for the taxpayer justified you using the power that is in that state legislation to circumvent or disregard the local legislative process. And feel free to correct my premise, but my question is, who performed the financial analysis that made you feel comfortable enough to take this first salvo, basically nullifying the local legislative process?
Answer the question.
Councilman, the decision to move forward with the authorization of the contract was done by analysis of the team from the state that's working on Atlantic City Matters, to include Senator Kays and his team, myself, and working with the administration. And I have met and worked with Paul, looked at his numbers, and then, you know, obviously, you know, I have a team of people that, you know, work with me on the administration of the city, and we felt confident in the savings numbers.
Was Ernst & Young one of the groups that did a financial analysis of like the cost of the service now and projected savings?
No, I don't believe that they were involved in that piece. I don't want to speak for sure, Councilman, because just in case maybe I wasn't aware of it, I don't believe they were. EY has been involved in the cash flow analysis of the city, and I do think it's very troubling hearing the public comments tonight. I think people don't realize at all just how poor your cash flow is in the city, and just how dire of a financial situation that the city is in. EY tracks that for me. I'm watching a period in the summer where I'm afraid that there's going to be a liquidity crisis. Given that pressure on the city's cash flow, I have to make all decisions that I can in a timely fashion.
Did Henry Amoroso provide any type of certified financials that like claimed or justified this savings, this number of $1 million?
Mr. Amoroso is a partner of Senator Kays' firm. I don't know whether or not he was involved in this particular matter, not to my knowledge.
Okay, and I just have a comment, Council President. The reason I ask those questions for the public is that I've reviewed 2 documents as a council member, and neither one of them were financial analysis or statements certified by a financial professional. I have a lot of respect for Director Jerkins and the incredible job that he's done as, if one didn't know better, the department were sabotaged with the inability to buy a new truck each year, which was what the agreement was when we brought the recycling back into the city. I recall that the plan was to purchase a truck each year to stay on top of our situation and not permitting positions to be filled. And so, you know, if I have a medical question, you know, I want the answer given by a medical professional. If I have a question about cooking, I'll go to a chef or somebody along those lines. And I just find it odd that you're justified, and when I say you, the state is justified in taking this first shot at shattering constitutional local government and the legislative process. And if you have the information, maybe it's just being kept from me, but I'm surprised that it wouldn't be part of this backup and this justification to share with us this certified financial information from a financial professional. And I'd at least like the people to know that in this context. Thank you.
Next.
Frank Phillips.
Good point.
Good evening, everyone. So Mark, I'm from Frank Phillips from Teamsters Local 331 also. I represent the blue collar workers that work here in Atlantic City. And comment and question. So last council meeting, you had tabled the idea of voting on privatizing, but you wanted to see all the paperwork. Have you seen it? Other than the press of Atlantic City showing us that it was $7.2 million over a 3-year contract?
Yes.
Okay. And you were going to have a chance to speak and vote on that tonight, and a day shy of that, Mr. Cunningham, state, well, Mr. Cunningham, are you the only one here from the state?
That's right.
That's it, just you? So Mr. Cunningham, I guess, makes the decision to say, well, we're not gonna give you the chance to vote on that. We're gonna privatize it. So I say shame on you and take that back to the state.
Hey, Frank, are these new trashmen, are they?
Sanitation.
Sanitation. Are they held to prevailing wages, like driving the trucks, like the Teamsters? Okay. So they can pay whatever they want then?
Yes, oh, and I'm sorry, I know Mr. King had asked in writing, because again, I have seen in the press, and I've heard from the city of Atlantic City, that 29 people were not going to be laid off. I haven't heard that from the state. Can you tell me that 29 sanitation people will not be laid off? Because everyone else is saying that, but I haven't, and by the way, I'm sorry, I'm Frank Phillips again, I haven't met the state. I wish they would have called me also, and Marcus, so we could have discussed a few things with you. Thank you.
Yes, a specific question about whether or not there would be 28 employees of the Public Works Department. 29, sorry, I'm clearly having a tough time with my numbers tonight. You asked whether 29 employees of the Public Works Department would be separated from service as a result of the actions taken. The state's calculus in determining to move forward with the contract with Gold Medal was predicated upon the fact that the 29 workers would remain. Those workers are needed to perform other functions within the Public Works Department. We sat down and had extensive conversations with Director Jerkins about that. So I can commit that the decision to move forward with the contract with Gold Medal, once again, is predicated upon those employees remaining in the service of the city of Atlantic City.
So is that in writing? Is that in writing?
It's on video.
You put that in writing?
Councilman, I said it publicly. I'm not as committed to writing. I've said it publicly. And
here we go.
It's on video. Next speaker.
Bob Renkevich.
I will come back to the next
Rich McDowell.
My question is to you, to y'all. I'm a sanitation truck driver.
You need a mic.
Testing 1, 2, testing 1, 2. All right, my name is Rich McDowell, and I am a union representative for teachers of 331. And I feel that what y'all about to do is wrong. That y'all doing something very wrong. We need our jobs. We need to do what we gotta do. Y'all gonna bring somebody else in here? What's up with that? Tell me that. Can y'all explain that to me?
We didn't do anything.
Explain that to me, man.
We were separated by the state.
Oh, him?
Yeah.
Can you
We
explain that
directed
to
to
me?
him.
And, yeah, matter of fact, put it in writing. That's all I want. Right, so we can have a fight. No problem.
Jose David Alcantara.
Thank you, council persons, people here taking the time to come here. My name is Jose David Alcantara. I'm a lawyer in Atlantic City. I'm probably the only lawyer who lives in Atlantic City. I have an office here for 29 years. This is something we can resolve tonight. The Martinez family lives at 362 North South Carolina Avenue. I have written a letter to the city. There are drug dealings going on every day at that location, and all they want is police presence on that spot, 362 North South Carolina Avenue. One guy got hit by a bat. They argue, they yell, they see drug transactions. There are 3 kids living there. Well, one's a 21-year-old, there's an 12-year-old, 8-year-old. The little girl's getting accosted by the dealers. The majority of dealers, they understand, are from Pleasantville. It doesn't matter though. We just want police involvement. It's been 2 weeks since I sent that letter out. No response from anyone. I'm sure you're all busy, but this is a possible scandal in the making if something happens to this nice family who pay their taxes. They work with the Brigada, they're good people. He had to leave early, he was going to talk because his little sister was going to be left alone. It's only about 4 blocks from here. And we need the police to come. They welcome the police inside to come in, to be there in front of the place every day at 362 North South Carolina. So that's the letter I sent. It's been over 2 weeks. We just need police involvement. I know there have been cutbacks. I know it's been tough, but as a person who's not only as a lawyer but civically involved, knows that I'm here for people who need help. So thank you.
I'm gonna ask you to speak to the chief. He's sitting right back there.
I will.
Chief, would you have a conversation with him, please, sir?
Thank you.
Query Martinez. Okay. Charles Goodman.
Apologize for the shades. I left my regular eyeglasses just so I can read my writing. Real quick, so there's no time. Last meeting, Mr. Cunningham, I brought up the Carl Icahn situation where you have to be in negotiations. Could you just bring us up to date on that? And you could have asked him to kick in $2 million to recover everybody's job. You can do that. Mr. Kurtz, you were on point with the, you asked one of my questions. Whose figures you're going by? Paul's, all the Paul's figures? No offense to Paul also, because he does do a great job in managing. I don't know about the figures, but in managing the crew. His figures could be easily scrutinized, and anybody with the 6th grade math could differ from what he has put down. My next question real fast. The city receives recycling rebates from when they pick up the recycling. So with this new company coming on board private, who gets the recycling rebates? Does it come back to the city, or does that company get it? With the trucks that are sitting on the lot supposedly, okay? Do they get to use them? Do you rent them out? Do they just sit there? Which goes to my point, if anybody here that was on council when they privatized the mechanic shop, and the first year, the city paid out, the second year, they broke even, and every subsequent year thereafter, we're paid more than what the original contract cost. And that's what's going to happen. Guys, do your homework, do your history. Every city that is going to privatize it, they play the game. It's called the shell game. We're going to make it look good this year. Next year, okay, it's at least the same. After that, they make out. And here's to that point. Privatizing is a patronage situation for the state and their cronies. This is the only opportunity we get to patronize people from the city, regardless of the color, because we know that's the situation too. But this is the only opportunity we get to give people of the city. Now, I understand what you're saying, Mr. Marsh, and exclude this from my time. Mr. Marsh, you said it right. They privatized. But Mr. Cunningham actually saved you guys, because some people wanted to take a vote last 3 weeks ago. To your credit, you said, let's delay it to the next time so everybody can read your packet. And then Mr. Small said, okay, we're going to put it off. So what happens? Mr. Cunningham saves y'all in terms of being on record. But privatizing is not a good thing. And it's my last thing. It's $100-something million budget. What are the first two things they cut away? Recreation. Well, I used to be a recreation director. $2 million. You know what that amounts to for a property tax on 1 penny? Now they want to take away the sanitation. What is that? Another 2 cents property tax. The two lowest departments that affect us. Oh, yes, sir. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I have a problem here. Thank you.
Hey, Charles. It's $200 million.
$2 million.
200.
No, the city's budget is $2 million. I'm talking about recreation was $2 million, was only $2 million, and their budget is $1 million or something. $3 million. Mr. Cunningham can get that from Carl Icahn tomorrow. And keep everybody working.
Mr. Goodman, your question that was directed to me was status of the negotiations with the Icon properties. They're ongoing. I can tell you that there have been several conversations held since the last meeting, but no resolution at this point. Negotiations are ongoing. And while I certainly try not to, debate matters, and I do understand yours and many members of the public's position on the privatization, you did say one thing that I just feel personally I need to respond to. The decision to privatize this contract was one based on the financial analysis, which people may or may not disagree with, and I can understand and respect that. But there was no cronyism involved. This was a public bid. I don't know the people. This was done solely on the merits of the bid response, and it went to the lowest bidder, so I just feel the need to put them in the record.
But $1 million is nothing compared to the budget. 0.003% of the budget.
3-1.
Oh, 3-1, okay.
Joe Hicks?
Good evening again. You know, as I look around the room, I see a lot of gloom and a lot of sad faces. But you know what? I'm going to try to paint a pretty picture today and make a change here. Today we had a stand down at the soldiers' home, and it was a beautiful affair. All the veterans were there, and they got clothes, they got lots to eat and whatever they needed. They got a lot of health benefits, and those that didn't have particular cards that they needed, they received. And whatever was left over was set out on the side for all citizens of Atlantic City. They all came from Atlantic City all around. They picked anything they wanted to take that was left over. there was soda, there was lettuce, there was pickles, there was cucumbers, there was so many things that the public was getting for nothing. And it was a beautiful affair. And when you look at that, that's not the only beautiful thing that happens here in Atlantic City. It's Brown Park, which is the most complete. Look how beautiful Brown Park is. And everyone comes up here has a sad face, something sad to say. I can see why. Personally, I'm happy I can't. Because I come up here, I don't ask many questions, I make a lot of statements. When you ask a lot of questions, it means you know a little less. And I don't want people to think I know a little less. So I don't ask too many questions. But I do want to say this. It's a beautiful city, I love it, and I'm going to live in it, and I'm going to do all I can do to help it get ahead. Thank you, and everyone have a good day.
Thank you.
Steve Young.
It's really hard to follow a veteran like Joe Hicks, especially because there's no holds barred right now. You know, it's sad that our vote's been taken away from Atlantic City and our sovereignty. And they actually put it in law, now they're enforcing it. But the saddest part about it, that our council and our mayor don't have any power to either. You can't hire, you can't fire, so it's almost like you're being a puppet for the state. And we cannot continue to allow that to happen. We got to stand together and fight the ones that's really doing it. They make it look like council and the mayor that you're laying off and you're cutting. That's how it looks in the public. Looks like you're doing it. It's the state that's doing it. That's the 800-pound gorilla we need to be fighting together. And it's sad that, you know, the administration enforces it, and then they put it on the agenda and tell you to vote for it, yes or no, when they can veto everything we say. Every vote you do and every vote for you don't count. Let's keep it real. You're really there ceremonial so they can say it's going through you. Let's not have it fake out. So what we need to do, if they're going to be in our pocket, the state, and spend the money that taxpayers actually spend coming from their property taxes and everything else, we need to hold them accountable. That means we need to be having, they should be the council meeting. They're the only ones who can answer the questions and send the letters, the orders down. So they need to be here on a weekly basis or bi-weekly basis talking about this debt and our budget and what they're cutting and everything else down. So it's very important
Steve,
that we do it.
I want to interrupt you for once. We can't afford $400,000 an hour to be on a daily basis.
Well, they've spent over $1 million. And it's more in litigation they're going to spend and talking about messing with people's retirement. Before I finish, you know, there's been a lot of shootings in Atlantic City, back in Maryland and Marina District and so forth. We've been back there, we've been active. And one thing we've been asking for and the residents have been asking for is foot patrol. Now, you got class 2 officers up on that boardwalk, up and down that tourism district. Why can't they be on the other side? State, if you want to be fair and be equal, then that's our money as well with the police officers to be protected and they're looking out for our community. So I don't know how you can do it. I know you're going to be voting for it, class 2, but can you amend it so they can be in our community as well? Not just the boardwalk, because they're walking up there and they're riding through our community. There's a problem with that. And we need that visibility. And if they're not going to do it, then we police our own community. But we need the resources to do it. That means we need bodies. And we ask for every person to take off every title you have. We will be back in the Marina District, 4 o'clock tomorrow in the 800 block of Maryland Avenue, which we're calling the Recession District and Recovery District, because we're going to get it back.
And it's a town hall meeting 4:30 Friday as well.
Harriet Diamond.
Hi. I just want to thank Colleen for pulling 322. I'm here from the Ocean Club with Harold Strauss, and we were concerned because we first saw that resolution on the agenda last night and knew nothing about it. We're glad that we came because we did get to meet Stephen, and he has given us some assurances, and we look forward to talking with him and his partner, and Jimmy has offered to sit down with us as well. So I'm sure we'll all be able to work something out. Thank you all very much.
Yeah, Harriet, hopefully that we can work something out, you know.
Yeah, we just need our
I'll
quiet
pay for
enjoyment.
lunch.
Thank you.
Harold Strauss,
Harriet said what I was going to say, thank you.
Everett Cornwall, Joyce Molyneux,
Good afternoon, Council President, council members again. Question 2 state, response from the mayor, because you've been quiet for a long time. Council President and council members. Has civil service left the building? I want a direct answer from each person that I named. Does Atlantic City Hall still have civil service? Public enemy number 2, Councilman Shabazz. Why did you ask the county to take over the MUA right after our NAACP Cornell Brooks, President and CEO, and NAACP lawyers from the national office stood before the community with other lawyers, unions, to support just the opposite? Who are you working for? And why are you attempting to destroy the MUA as well as the work of the NAACP? Crime, lack of insensitivity for residents, thank you, for residents in certain areas of the city. And Steve Young spoke about it a few moments ago. Chief, we need 3 shifts in the troubled sections of this community. It is called patrolling. We must be consistent. I conclude with this, whenever you want to rid the citizenry, as I stated some years ago during a CRDA meeting, you either starve them out or allow them to kill themselves so that you can build a colony. Thank you.
Can we answer Ms. Molyneux's question, please? I think.
Yeah, Mr. President.
First, we want to. We got you.
Ms. Molyneux, I'm sorry, Nancy. The Municipal Stabilization and Recovery Act contemplates the suspension of civil service. The city is not currently operating under Title 11A at this time.
We don't have civil service. That's all you, yes or no answer.
You're correct, yes.
Next question.
With regard to Ms. Molyneux's statement about my request to the county, she has the first part right about the request to the county. She had the second part wrong about asking the county to take over. What I did was a continuation of a conversation that we started with the MUA, looking at alternatives for that body. And I did stand with President Brooks talking about public ownership of the MUA. The county is a public institution. The county is a public form of government. The county is something that has, excuse me, would answer that if we want the MUA to stay in public hands and we don't want to privatize, and I absolutely do not want to privatize, and I've said that consistently, it does not make any sense rationally to rule out talking to Atlantic County. It just doesn't make any sense. Now, people can say what they want, and everyone has their opinion, but we cannot rationally say that public ownership is not public because it's Atlantic County. That's just not rational. We can say it, we can say whatever we want to say. And that was my position, and that remains my position. We have to explore every legitimate resource to keep the MUA in public hands. That's my answer, that was my position, and that was the position that we took when, with President Brooks. President Brooks, when he said public ownership, he didn't define public ownership in any narrow way. We all said public ownership, and that's the position that I take. And I think that we have to leave every option on the table. The end result has to be that the MUA stays in public hands.
I apologize ahead of time. Everybody's opinion is that your opinion is wrong.
Council President, I just want to make a statement.
Well, Mr. Goodman, I'm sorry.
This is a council body, and for any council person to go out publicly and begin to open up negotiations or talks without actually considering the other body, I think it's kind of sends a wrong message that all of us agree on certain things. I think that from a standpoint of how we go out and negotiate or talk to other entities about city business, it should come through the president. I think that us basically going out on our own and trying to create negotiations or talks or what have you convolutes the process. That's why we have a president, and that's why we pretty much elected him to speak for the body and not individuals to go out and basically cause folks additional angst. Atlantic City is pretty much one of those places where it's a free fall right now. And for some odd reason, we think that we can do it alone as solos. NAACP, whatever organizations that want to basically fight for water should be always talking in concert opposed to individuals. But I respectfully disagree with the fact that me or anyone else going out to try to talk for the body is out of order.
Well, just for the record, Councilman, I respect your opinion, I hear what you said, but the assertion that my comment was the beginning of negotiations is inaccurate. Just for the record. Just for the record.
I'm listening.
Just for the record, it was not the beginning of negotiation. Obviously, one council person doesn't have the right to negotiate for the council except the president by virtue of his office. I said, and I still say, that a conversation with the county, which we already started, is not beyond the bounds of rationality and common sense. A conversation with the county is not beyond the bounds of rationality and common sense and trying to save the taxpayers, excuse me, and keep the MUA in public hands.
So you say on one hand, you're talking the finances, right? So when you're talking finances, you're talking negotiations. So even if you go and speak about how we can do X, Y, and Z with the MUA, that's the start of negotiations, because that's a conversation with the A and B party.
No, it's a continuation, sir. We've already started.
It's the same difference.
Okay.
It's the same difference.
Okay, I'm finished.
Frank Turner.
Frank Turner. I believe in order to address some of these issues, we need to deal with the state hand on hand. Meaning these trumped up numbers that they have given us, we need to let the residents of Atlantic City know that these numbers are bogus. Y'all saying that we made $3.6 million in 2016 from 44 employees of sanitation. Am I correct? If you do the number on that, you're saying that each employee in sanitation, amongst them 44 people, made $80,000 a year. I ain't making $80,000. Unless y'all gave me a raise, I don't know nothing about it. 2017, y'all said we made $2.6 million so far with 29 employees. You're saying now that we made over $80,000 from each employee. Somebody got to be held accountable for these numbers that y'all coming up with. The residents of Atlantic City need to know that these numbers are bogus, because a lot of people out there believe that we're making a lot of money. They believe that we're making $20-something an hour. I had to argue with somebody about that. So who's coming up with these figures? It don't make no sense. We can put everything in the paper about the state taking over in Atlantic City, and we're gonna save this amount of money. But we can't put in the paper that these numbers that we're coming up with are bogus. So we're deceiving the people of Atlantic City because they're under the assumption that we're making $80,000 a year. Thank you.
How much do you make, Mr. Attorney? Mr. President?
I'll pick y'all's question.
We need a minute to change the DVD. We're back on.
Council President, I have a question for, I wouldn't say it's for the good and order. Do we still have subpoena power?
You asking me?
Yes, sir.
Pursuant to 37-1, the council has the right to form investigatory committees and to be able to investigate any matter within the purview of municipal government. And pursuant to N. Ray Shane, the council has the right to promulgate subpoenas relative to investigative matters.
So does the Recovery Act, and forgive me that I don't have the acronym of the full thing, does that at all impede in this process at all?
That's not something that I contemplated or had the chance to research, but if that's something you'd like me to research, I certainly would.
I greatly appreciate it because I think what we're going to have to do is hold court and have subpoena all parties to ensure that we have all correct information.
Let me just say this though, Council, and hopefully this will aid you in any of your questions. The council does have the right to request information from the administration as to any particular matter that it deems to be important by way of a report and by way of the mayor. So if in any case, that always is an option for the council to consider.
So listen, so when we've asked for the report on the, from the privatization of the sanitation, and we didn't receive it. And then I believe that last meeting, I think my colleague, Mr. Kurtz, was the only one who got a copy. How do we move to address those sort of things?
The council has the right to request, as I said, those particular documents. What might be the best option might be to put those matters in writing so that there's no ambiguity as to the request and to request a certain amount of time.
My colleague said that on video is better than writing. So if
I'm not sure that necessarily would be the right thing for the
statute.
The statute may be satisfied best by a written request.
I understand, but this has been an ongoing issue in terms of administration particularly holding information and then expecting the council body to respectfully vote in good conscience. I'm asking my colleagues from this point forward that if the administration can't give us the decency and respect for us to be able to have the reports and things that they have, then we should not even entertain it in terms of even putting it on the agenda. Because I had back and forth argument with Mr. Chiesa, and he swears that we had the information when I'm telling him that we did not. And it's unfair for every colleague up here to have to basically make a vote or cast a vote when in fact the administration had gone out and had a consultant actually come up with numbers, come up with the specs for the actual privatization, and then silently and maliciously move on it to the point where, again, they sit quietly as the state moves on the things that they put in operation. So I'm asking my colleagues that if they can't give us the respect that they expect us to give them, then don't put it on the agenda and then let the state continue to make the moves, because at the end of the day, the state, and I agree with Mr. Gooding, the state got a few of us off the hook because someone would have to make a decision on if we're gonna say yay or nay. It's kind of odd that they did it a day before the council meeting, because some odd reason, they thought it was better served. And again, the numbers, again, one of the public asked me did I have the report. Yes, I had the report, and that's why I did not give Mr. Chiesa a thumbs up on it, because the numbers did not normally ever make sense when you just heard Mr. Turner say that they're receiving 80, 90,000. But again, long and short of it is we have to make the administration and the state respect the fact that we are the elected officials, and wrong, right, or indifferent, if they choose to make the moves to override us, at least let us stand for the people so the people can respect us as their elected officials.
Mr. Gilliam, I want to clarify something, and pardon me for not doing it at the last meeting. The report that was mentioned that I received the day of the meeting was the exact same report that was in our, what do you call it, our packet, yes, our packet. And so at that time, I was still renewing the question along with you for, and I would call it verified savings, because there's a lot of claimed savings. And for the benefit of the public, this report that Mr. Gilliam mentioned and that we talked about is one of two documents that at least I've been able to see. This document was created in October of 2016 with the help of a consultant. I believe his name is DeFeo.
Correct.
And the reason that didn't satisfy my question is that my question was, what is our savings based on the actual amount of money that we spent last year? And just by the nature of time, you can't confirm what you actually did in November and December with a report that was created in October. I mean, everybody gets that. So the point, I wanted for the record, I didn't get any type of secret information that, that you didn't either.
I'm glad that you clarified that. I didn't want to make it seem like I was saying that my colleague had received something special than I. It was just making point that he was the first one and the only one that had gotten some kind of correspondence in terms of what the consultant came up with.
Any other discussion?
Okay. Tasha, please state your full name, please.
Yes,
Thank
Tasha
you.
Prescott. Hi, Tasha Prescott. First and foremost, I'd like to say to my director, thank you for the effort of trying to get us 7 trucks for sanitation. I'm an employee for sanitation. And I also would like to ask a question to the state as to what does civil service, us not having civil service, has to do with cutting the budget. Also, it's really nobody's business, but I think I should put this out there, but I am a sanitation truck driver and I get paid less than $12 an hour. And for the things that we endure and do out there, I don't think that any entity in the state of New Jersey would do what we do on a daily basis to clean the streets of Atlantic City at all. Late sit-outs and everything. I don't think that nobody would do the jobs that we do with the trucks that we have. Could do the jobs that we do. We are powerhouses.
All right.
We are powerhouses. Making the money that I make, nobody can do that job. Less than $12 an hour. I have friends across the state of New Jersey that are also sanitation workers, that are also in other places that makes more money and gets benefits just as good as I get. And they do the job that I do, and they don't do it as best as we do it. But I also want to say, if is a big word, and when they start to do a layoff, would any of you take a pay cut to help me save my job?
All right.
Can I make a comment? Young lady, I respect you, Ms. Prescott. I respect the job that you do. You know, I've sat here and I've listened to everyone speak. I got a dual role because I sit on council. I'm also a public employee. And I understand because I walk in your shoes. Some people on the dais, they can say what they say or say how they feel, but I walk in the same shoes that each and every one of you walk in. In the morning on my way to work, I wave at all of y'all because I know y'all do a tremendous job. And I know you do a tremendous sacrifice. But I also am a public employee. So I understand. My wife was a public employee. She was working for the city for 12 years. She got laid off. So I understand. When you walk in somebody's shoes, you feel the same way they do. Because I sit up here, don't think for 1 minute that I don't feel like you feel. I don't know if I'm going to have a job next week or not. But I'll tell you what. A lot of us catch hell up here. But I know what it is to walk in your shoes. You know who I look at? I look at the state. They've come in, they've disrupted our lives, they've disrupted our city, and they have us at each other. You know, we stand in front of these mics and we talk to no avail at times. But when I make a vote up here, I vote with my conscience. I'm not running for office. I don't have to worry about that. I vote with my conscience. If I think it's going to benefit the citizens, if I think it's going to benefit the taxpayers, I'm going to vote on it. I don't have a problem with it because I'll get up in the morning and on my way to work, I wave at every sanitation worker because I know what it is to walk in your shoes. I do not wear a suit and tie every day. I wear a big pair of brogans and a sweatshirt. So I know what you're going through. And I feel your pain. I can't speak for anybody up here, but I feel your pain. And I'm pissed off at the state. I'm pissed off at where things are, but I did run for elective office, and I will do the best I can, and I will continue to walk with my head up because I know what it is to be a working person in the public sector. Thank you.
Next.
Patricia Harper.
Good evening to each and every one of you tonight, and Honorable Mayor Gorian, how are you? You're for all that, aren't you? My name is Patricia Harper, and I understand what the Department of Sanitation is going through, and you from the state. How can y'all come in here and say what, I read the article in the paper today. That's not right, because these people should be commended. They haven't had a raise in about 8 or 9 years, but they come to work each and every day and put 100% in whatever they do. Now this private contractor that y'all supposedly haven't finished doing all the paperwork with, I mean, the money that you talk about, and you too, Mr. Mayor, the money that y'all saying that you're going to save by privatizing the Department of Sanitation is not right. Because you should keep this in-house. You have people out, and I'm a taxpayer of Atlantic City, so can't nobody speak for me about my taxes. I'm a homeowner in Atlantic City, so can't nobody say that they're speaking for each and every one of us. So can't nobody speak for me but me. But it's not right. These people get up at 4 o'clock to be to work every morning and do what they do. Winter, spring, summer, fall, they out here. And it's not right. And you as the state, how would you trade your job and get out and do the work that they do for the money that they make? And these people that's gonna privatize, make $18 an hour, that money that you give them, you can give them a raise, give them an increase. They don't need 7 vehicles, 7 trucks. Try to get them 1 truck at a time.
There you go.
So that they can do what they can do. been a long time coming. And city council, some of y'all that's up there, some of y'all that's new to up here, I'm not gonna try to take up too much time, but I'm just telling the truth. This has been a long time coming. Each administration, every time you turn around, sanitation is always the first to be on the block. And they the lowest paid department in the city of Atlantic City. And they work hard every day. And it's not right. And Mr. Mayor, no offense to you, and no offense to none of you, but I'm just telling you the truth. Okay, so y'all do what you have to do, and Mr. State Man, you can go back and tell Christie or whoever you want to tell what I said, because I stand up and tell them myself. Because right is right and wrong is wrong. I mean, you know, people say, oh, okay, I got one more comment, and then we're going to sit down, Mr. Morris. Not Mr. Morris, Mr. Small. Okay? But I know my time is up, but y'all think about it, because right is right and wrong is wrong.
All right.
Y'all have a good evening.
Anyone else? Anyone else from the public that would like to speak? Step forward. Seeing none, public portion is closed. Let's move the agenda.
We're now on ordinances on second and final reading. And to confirm, ordinance 10, amending chapter 210 regarding rolling chairs is being adjourned until the June 14th council meeting.
Correct.
Ordinance 11, also adjourned
Yes, Madam Clerk.
until June 14th. And we have ordinance on first reading. Ordinance 7A.
May I have a motion to approve ordinances on first reading, regular resolutions? Moved by Shabazz, second by Randolph. Starting with Gillian.
Pass.
I'm good.
I'm good. Don't start, Jesse.
Hey, Mr. President.
No, he said.
Planning and Development, I'd like to register a no vote on number 315. I'd like to co-sponsor, also under Planning and Development, number 295. Under Revenue and Finance, I'd like to co-sponsor 300. And then under Public Safety, Public Works, I'd like to co-sponsor 320 and 321. And that is all.
Small. I'm good. Randolph. Shabazz.
I'm good.
Delgado. Come on now. Come on.
I'd like to register a no on 300 under Revenue and Finance. I'd like to register a no vote for 317 under Planning and Development.
Is it Live Nation?
Yes. That's it.
You think they're gonna have country music?
Gillian.
They never give it to you.
Co-sponsor 7A. That's it.
All right.
Excuse me, no one gonna co-sponsor the benefits, nothing with me?
Or we'll make it all council. Make the benefits piece all council, everything else is clear. Under health and
And
human.
the dental too,
289. 289
Mr. President, we make the dental too all council for Mr.
298.
Mark.
I mean, since he's feeling lonely, I don't have a problem with it.
Okay.
Very much so, very much.
Mr. President, I'd like to also co-sponsor 332 and 331.
Wait a minute, I'm sorry, Delgado.
I'm sorry.
332 and 331.
Yeah, I'd like to be on those too, Mr.
We
President.
can make it all count.
To make it all council.
331, 332, 298, 299. Yes, and 289. Three, and three benefits. Okay.
Madam Clerk, just before you call a vote, Solicitor Swan has to amend a resolution, just to let you know. Anybody group executive session into this?
That's the motion I'll make.
That was the 324.
Okay,
Hold on. Revenue Finance 327. Put a no on that. Forgive me, Paul, I'm sorry.
Council President, the administration would like to amend Resolution 324, last paragraph that begins, be it further resolved, just to add at the end of the sentence, currently it says abatement law, quotation marks, period. I'd like to delete the period and add an applicant shall formally notify the tax assessor within 30 days of receipt of the certificate of occupancy, period.
okay. We will be voting on ordinance 7A, which is an ordinance to transfer 101 Houston Avenue to OCEAN, 295, 315, 317, 318, 323, 109, 289, 296, 297, 300, 309, 324 as amended, 327, 197, 325, 294, 301, 302, 303, 304, 305, 326 with the correction on the agenda to read $15,000 as the change order. 310, 316, 319, 320, 321, 330, 298, 299, and new business 331, 332, and 333. Chang?
Yes.
Delgado?
Yes.
Gilliam?
Yes.
Kurtz?
Yes.
Marsh?
Yes.
Randolph?
Yes.
Shabazz?
Yes.
Tibbet?
Yes.
And Small?
Yes.
That's 9 in the affirmative. Noting the changes, ordinance 7A, co-sponsor, Councilman Gilliam. No votes on 315, Councilman Kurtz. Delgado, no votes 300, 317, and 327. Co-sponsors, 295, 300, 320, and 321, Councilman Kurtz. And then all council noted as sponsors, 289, 298, 299, 331, and 332.
All right, ladies.
Okay. That brings us to executive session.
May I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Randolph, second by Shabazz.
20 minutes.
All right.
Okay? I'm sorry, I missed the motion in second, Council.
There was, Shabazz and Randolph.
Okay, we'll be voting on A, Karen's versus City of Atlantic City Workers' Comp. B, Gerasi versus City of Atlantic City Workers' Comp. C, Eisenbeiss versus City of Atlantic City Workers' Comp. D, Logan versus City of Atlantic City Workers' Comp. E, Barrett versus City of Atlantic City Settlement. And F, Graham versus City of Atlantic City Settlement. Chang?
Yes.
Delgado?
Yes.
Gilliam?
Yes.
Kurtz?
Yes.
Marsh?
Yes.
Randolph?
Yes.
Shabazz?
Yes.
Tibbet?
Yes.
And Small.
No.
8 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative. How long, please?
20 minutes.
20 minutes, but just to clarify, that was not a vote on the resolutions, that was just a vote to go back to executive session, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
All right.
Do you have a copy of the sign-in sheet? Councilman Kurtz has something to say before we vote.
All right, just for the record, the three resolutions that came in under new business for the members of the public, they were acknowledging three things. One is that May 25th is Missing and Exploited Children Awareness Day, and so hopefully we'll redouble our efforts on May 25th. We're also recognizing a gentleman named T.J. Andrews for his heroism. He's the gentleman that pulled the person out of the car that went into the bay who was walking by, so we definitely, we approved these things already, just want the public to know. We applaud him for taking the time out to save that life. And then the third one is commending the gentleman that brought the 9/11 display down in the lobby, Mr. John Highland. And so then I guess they'll be in the record somewhere. Thank you, Mr. President.
Council President, I'd like to just tag on to the missing and exploited children. We're actually having an event held at Dante Hall on the 23rd from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. And it consists of, it's a foray of information granted to the public on how to be more active in trying to prevent from children to be exploited or being targeted. So if there's a chance, you can get a chance to come out from 1 to 4 on the 23rd, May 23rd at Dante Hall. It's supported and partially and sponsored by Stockton, the State Police Department. There's people coming from the Office for, it's called the the Organization on Missing and Exploited Children, the national organization will be coming in. It's a noble effort, and I applaud Brother Torres Mayfield for spearheading it and all the people involved in it. It should be really powerful.
Mr. Council President, very briefly on Memorial Day, which is May 29th at 11:30, we're going to have the annual Memorial Day service, but more importantly, the grand reopening of Browns Park. It's going to be a wreath laying. It's going to be a community choir. It's going to be remarks by Charles Garrett, who is a former freeholder and a Vietnam veteran, and we're going to make special recognition of Vietnam-era veterans and end with a community cookout. So we invite everybody. That's Memorial Day, May 29th, 11:30 at Browns Park.
Can I have a motion to group all the executive session segments?
Motion.
Moved by Kurtz, second by Shabazz.
Okay. We'll be voting on resolution 307, settlement for Graham, 308, settlement for Karens, 311, Eisenbeiss, settlement, 312, Gerasi, settlement, 313, Barrett, and 314, Logan. Chang?
Yes.
Delgado?
Yes.
Gilliam?
Yes.
Kurtz?
Yes.
Marsh?
Yes.
Randolph?
Yes.
Shabazz?
Yes.
Tibbet?
Yes.
And Small.
Yes.
That's 9 in the affirmative.
Motion to adjourn.